Hi guys, Arindam here, and in the seventh and final part of my museum video series, I will be taking a look at all the remaining creatures in the game, from the fantasy creatures up till the tech creatures, the bosses, the aberrant creatures, X creatures, and the titans, etc. Everything else. So let us begin. Now, this is the fantasy creature. Fantasy creatures have been color coded to be royalty over orange because they represent like fantasy colors to me. So let's start with the first one. We have the space whale or Astrocetus from Genesis with its nice fluorescent like color. Next we have the forest wyvern, which can only be accessible during the forest titan boss fight. You can use the forest titan for clearing out the trees that the forest titan spawns, and make sure that the area is clear from all the poison damage, but they are temporary tames. Next we have is the ice titan from Ragnarok, which spits out a ice breath which can slow down enemies. Next we have is the lightning wyvern from Scorched Earth, which has the highest range of all of the three wyverns and also does the most immediate damage. Next we have the phoenix. This is my personal phoenix, by the way, and you can find phoenixes only on Scorched Earth. So I brought my phoenix from Scorched Earth over to Extinction. It is actually a rather very useful tame because first of all, the phoenix, after you tame it, you will find that it has some of the best utilities you can find. For example, you can put meat inside a phoenix's inventory and it will automatically cook it. The most important part of this is first of all, you won't need an industrial grill to cook meat, and secondly, and more importantly, you know that raw prime meat spoils easily. So you can put raw prime meat, a lot of raw prime meat inside a phoenix, and one, because it's in another dino's inventory, it will spoil much slower compared to say an industrial grill, and secondly, they will start parallelly cooking, which is really good. I mean, you won't need any industrial grill after you have a phoenix of your own. Secondly, the phoenix, if you press the spacebar button and try to fly, it will fly incredibly fast. In fact, I would say the phoenix is, in my opinion, the fastest flying creature in the game, and possibly the fastest creature in the entire game if you want to fly in a straight line. It is exceptionally good for traveling long distances if you want to move from one part of the map to the other. In fact, I use the phoenix a lot for scouting out my base locations as well as say finding explorer nodes. It's really incredible. Now the phoenix will only eat sulfur, raw sulfur. That's okay. Another very good thing about the phoenix is phoenix has a fireball attack. The fireball attack does not aggro other enemies, so you can actually do the fireball attack on difficult enemies and they will not aggro onto you, which is really good, man. Next you have is my personal fire wyvern, which is the most common and the stereotypical wyvern. The difference between wyverns and dragons is wyverns are more serpent-like with 2 legs, while dragons have 4 legs. Next we have is the Griffin from Ragnarok. Next we have is the poison wyvern. The poison wyvern has the same frill as the Dilophosaurus, and poison wyvern's breath attack will damage a rider on its dino if the rider does not have a hazmat suit or a gas mask. Next we have is the blood stalker from Genesis. Because flyers are by default not enabled on Genesis, blood stalker is a good way of transportation and that covers the entire map. This guy over here is not a Dimorphodon. Sorry, it's not a Dimorphodon. It is a desert titan flock, and this model of the Dimorphodon is actually a placeholder. Finally, we have the remaining 2 draconids. We have the rock drake from Aberration. This is my own personal rock drake, hence it is in my color. And secondly, it is my personal Managamar. Now, initially when I made this first floor, The first floor was supposed to be a Draconid only museum part, and it was also going to have all the crystal wyverns from Crystal Isles. But unfortunately, at the time of making the museum and even now, crystal wyverns are not transferable to other map, and their dermis is also not transferable. In fact, even if I spawn a crystal wyvern in my current map and then take a dermis, after the server restart, the dermis will just become invisible. That is why I had to replace the crystal wyvern dermis with the other creatures. More or less, this first floor was supposed to be a draconid stand with the reptilian draconids like the wyverns as well as the rock drake, the bird-like rock drake, the reptilian wyverns, as well as the mammal managamar. Of which I would say is the managamar is really good for travel, but otherwise it's not that useful. Overall, I would say that the rock drake and wyverns are much more useful compared to the managamar. Let's move on to the next floor. In the second floor, we have the fictional Camelsaurus or Morellatops from Scorched Earth, the Basilisk from Aberration. Basilisk, this model of the Basilisk has been taken from Harry Potter, by the way. Next we have is the Rock Elemental and its smaller cousin, the Rubble Golem from Scorched Earth. Rubble Golems are found mostly in the Scorched Earth caves, where Rock Elementals are most found outside the caves. We also have other variants of these golems like Lava Elementals, Chalk Golems, Ice Golems, and etc. Initially I had all of these models. I think they would be somewhere. I had all of these models, but again these dermis for these creatures kind of become invisible or vanish after a server restart, so I had to remove them from my stand. Otherwise, this I actually planned on making this 3 floors instead of 2 floors. But well, just like every other bug in Ark, it can never be fixed and will never be fixed by the Ark devs. Thank you, Studio Wildcard. Okay, next up we have the Reaper King. Yes, the Reaper King, not the Queen. The Reaper King from Aberration. This one has a very nice color palette, but it is. Next we have is the. I forgot. I actually forgot the name. So this is the Death Worm, by the way. It's rare for me to forget a name, but still, Death Worm from Scorched Earth. Then we have the Magmasaur from Genesis. This one is the corrupt tumor you find in the Extinction's King Titan boss fights, which after spawning it will burst out and spawn a corrupted Giga. Next you have is the Ravager or Cave Wolf from Aberration. Next we have the Gacha from Extinction. Now we have here are the light pates from Aberration. We have the Bulb Dog. Bulb Dog, by the way, is the light pate having the highest capacity but the lowest regen rate. They are also the only ones, I think they are not, sorry, they eat meat and they are the only ones that I think are, well, they can breathe underwater as far as I think. Next you have is the Shinehorn. This is the most balanced of the 4 light tames, and it is also the only one which is herbivore. It has a balance of charge capacity, charge regen rate, as well as charge range, and is found in the blue zone. Next you have is the Featherlight. Featherlight has the highest charge emission range, can fly, and is generally very useful. In fact, this is the one I mostly use. Finally, you have is the Glowtail, which can only be found in the 3 caves of Aberration. It has the lowest glow charge capacity, but it has the highest charge emission rate, so it regenerates very fast. This is the Carcinos. Like next, these 2 are actually the small and large version of the Ferox from Genesis Part 1. Okay, this guy is not here. Well, it is here, but it is here actually. This is the Mega Echelon. Its dermis is kind of bugged, and This is your Mega Echelon. It is surprisingly small for a creature that you can build a base on. Okay. That covers the fantasy creatures. Next, we will move to the mechanical creatures. Yeah, mechanical creatures have been color coded to be sky with your purple as well as cyan, because they mostly are made up of metal, skyish blue element like metal, and are fueled by element, and they're also present on the Extinction map, so they have been color coded with this thing. They constitute the enforcer from your overseer boss fight in Island, as well as the enforcer from your Extinction. We also have the, sorry, these are not enforcer by the way. These are defense units. Again made a mistake. This one is the enforcer. Next we have is the mech. Now mechs, as far as I think, for PvE and solo player like me, I did not find mechs to be that useful. I mean, I use them only for the forest titan taming process as well as for making a mega mech. Other than that, I did not find that much use for the mech. Enforcers on the other hand are rather useful. They have a high storage capacity and can blink and move across the terrain very fast. They also do 4 times the amount of damage to corrupt creatures, and thus can be used for easy and medium OSDs and element fiends. This one is the attack drone from the Island's overseer boss fight. Next we have is the scout. Just imagine this attack drone should be much bigger and this scout should be much smaller. And we have his reverse. Thank you, Studio Wildcard. Finally, the showpiece event here is that of the Mega Mech. The Mega Mech without its sword. Getting a dermis for this was very difficult, but I could do it in one of the Alpha King Titan boss fights, thankfully. I actually had to combine 4 mechs, get myself inside the get inside the Mega Mech, then immediately get out of the mech while the Alpha King Titan is coming towards me, take a dermis, and then move inside the mech. It was kind of interesting experience. Okay. Now that is one side covered, we'll move on to the second side. This one, you can see from the color itself, is cyan and magenta. So magenta and cyan, this definitely has to mean aberrant creatures. Yeah, well, you have already seen that by the way. So these are all of the creatures with the aberrant mutations. We have the aberrant versions of the Coelacanth, Ammonite, not Ammonite, Achatina, Anglerfish, Ankylosaurus. Okay, one thing you can notice is that in the aberration map, we have an aberration like glow to all these creatures. But while taking these creatures out onto a different map, that aberrant glow kind of goes away. And the dermis takes the form of its default form. I think this has got to something to do with, one, there is a particular aberrant shader being used in the game that is only present in the aberrant map that is causing those glow effects, and 2, the dermis for aberrant creatures does not exist. By default, they revert back to its default dermis state, which is the normal creatures. Hence, even though this is an aberrant ankylo, you still get a normal ankylo skin. Next we have is the Araneo, the Arthropleura, the Baryonyx, Beelzebufo, Carbonemis, Carnotaurus, Nidaria, Dimetrodon, your Dimorphodon. By the way, the Dimorphodon is actually not, you cannot find the aberrant version of Dimorphodon in the aberration map. It's the model and the thing is actually there in the game, but you cannot just find it in the map. It's strange. So I had to spawn this guy in and take its dermis after 4 stemming it. Next you have is the Diplopolis, and then the Diplodocus. We'll move to the second floor. We have the aberrant dire bear, the aberrant dodo, the Doedicurus, dung beetle, Electrophorus, Equus, Gigantopithecus. These guys helped me a lot in clearing out the caves in Aberration. Iguanodon, Lystrosaurus, we have the aberrant otter, the aberrant moss chops, the Meganeura. This is my own personal Megalosaurus it has a lot of mutations. So it has this beautiful coloration that I have used. In fact, this personal Megalosaurus is also present on this map. So you can see it's really beautiful. Next we have is the aberrant Megalania, Manta Ray, and we also have a third floor, so it has the highest number of creatures. We have the aberrant Ovis, Paraceratherium, Parasaurolophus, Megapiranha, Pulmonoscorpius, Perlovia, Raptor, Saber Tooth Salmon, the Sarcosuchus Imperator, the Spinosaurus, Stegosaurus, the Titanoboa, Triceratops, and finally the Trilobite. This ends our entire run through all the aberrant creatures. Next we have the tech creatures, the tech variants of normal creatures that have been introduced in Extinction. The tech creatures have been color coded to be sky blue color over red and blue, because most of these tech creatures are made of tech and metal, which is sky in color, and they have a glowing part in their body which is mostly red or blue in color, hence the coloration. And tech creatures spawn at around I think 25 or 30% higher level than normal creatures. So on default official servers, the maximum level is 150 for normal creatures and 180 for tech creatures. Hence you can have a max level perfect tame tech creature at level 269 compared to 224 for a normal creature. That is the reason why on the island map I have used tech rexes over normal rexes. Now the only problem with tech creatures is they are rather rare. They are very rare, around 5% compared to the normal creatures. But if you were to get a high level one, then it's very impressive. Tech creatures can also be farmed to get metal, oil, electronics as well as element dust, of which I think electronics is a rather rare resource if you want to initially start out and make it. So on maps like the island and Scorched, you can easily get electronics by killing tech creatures. Okay, first one we have the tech Raptor. This one will be the tech Triceratops. Yes, tech Triceratops from your Genesis, which is, well, again not there. Next we have the tech Stego with its beautiful green coloration, the tech Parasaurolophus, the tech Quetzal, and finally this is the tech Rex. And this one is, by the way, the exact same tech Rex that I have used for getting through all three of the tech cave on the island map. It really is very impressive. Okay, so next one we have are the corrupted creatures. Corrupted dinos. Corrupted dinos are obviously in the colors of the corruption, which is navy, light pink, and black. Yeah, these are the colors of the corruption. We have the corrupted Arthropleura, the corrupted Carnotaurus, corrupted Chalisotherium, the corrupted Dilo, which is practically entirely covered in corruption. It's like gone. Next we have the corrupted Dimorphodon, the corrupted Giga, which actually looks the most beautiful actually, the corrupted Giga. corrupted Parasitotherium, corrupted Pteranodon, Raptor, Reaper King, Rex, Rock Drake. The corrupted Rock Drake have lost all its feathers, unfortunately. Looks kind of naked. Next one is the corrupted Spino, Stego, Triceratops, Wyvern. Now, corrupted Wyverns are all corrupted versions of the fire Wyverns. We do not have the equivalent poison and lightning and ice Wyverns for corrupted creatures. This big guy is the Enraged corrupted T-Rex. It is, you can think of as an equivalent of the alpha creature, but if I were to compare between the alpha and the enraged, I would say that the enraged corrupted T-Rex is far superior than an alpha T-Rex. In fact, you can find this enraged T-Rex during purple OSD, and they spawn at levels of around 500, and at those levels the enraged T-Rex can have health points of over 100,000, which means even with a Giga it will take a long time to actually kill one of these guys. They're very dangerous, and if more than one comes, for example, at one time 3 enraged T-Rexes attacked me at the same time, and I had a mate boosted pair of my Gigas, and I barely survived even with Ascendant saddles and max level Gigas. Next we have is the enraged corrupted Triceratops. This skin that you see here is actually the same skin. This is the same skin that you would find if you were to put a bionic skin over your Triceratops. Okay. Next we have are all the X creatures from Genesis. Again, X creatures will lack its beautiful coloration, but even though the color shading is not done, at least what we know from the X creatures is they have a different and much more vibrant color palette compared to their normal and aberrant variants. So at least you can see how vibrant these colors are. So we have the Allosaurus X creatures. Now X creatures have slightly less health, I think 3-5% less health, and the equivalent increase in damage. So we have the X Allosaurus from the volcanic region, the X Ankylosaur, X Argentavis, Basilosaurus, Dunkleosteus, Ichthyosaurus, Megalodon, which is really beautiful. This guy is beautiful. Mosasaurus, the otter, Parasaur, Raptor, the volcanic X-Rex. Well, this one looks exactly like a normal rock elemental, but if you actually go to the volcanic zone, you will find that it has really good volcanic shading patterns, which make it look far different than what it is looking right now. I have the X Saber Tooth, and these also have really nice colorations. They actually look like leopards. Next we have the X Parasitotherium. Wait, I forgot to say, X creatures, I have color coded them to be olive green over forest green over white, because of how the Genesis itself represents. It has, most of the areas have a greenish coloration like the bog and the swamps and the rivers, so hence like that. And also I was running out of different color palettes. Haha. So we have the Saber Tooth Salmon from the lunar region, the Spinosaurus, the Tapehara, Triceratops, Woolly Rhino, and the X Eutyranus. So that goes for all the X creatures. Next we will come to the Alpha creatures. Yeah, this one is interesting and very colorful, by the way. It's one of my favorite color combinations. So the photo here is taken directly from the wiki. It shows the size of a alpha mosasaur in comparison to a normal Mosasaur. You can see how big they are. Let's see. Alpha creatures have been coded the color of red, yellow and black, which is also the flag of Germany. But that these are the three main colors of alpha creatures. So we have the alpha basilisk. They are actually very beautifully colored. Alpha basilisk, alpha carnotaurus. This is the alpha deathworm, which looks amazing. Next we have the alpha fire wyvern, the alpha carcinos. The alpha version of the lead Sichthys is actually kind of like the Moby Dick. It is completely albino, completely white. It has no other colors. Next we have the alpha megalodon. Now the alpha megalodon, if you see the actual size of the alpha megalodon, this guy represents what is the true size of a megalodon in real life. This is the alpha mosasaur, the alpha raptor, the alpha surface reaper king, the alpha rex, the alpha tusoteuthis, again beautiful colors. This is actually from Genesis, alpha x triceratops. This is the ice worm queen, I think. This is the ice worm queen. The ice worm queen is from Ragnarok and it is one of the bosses, sub bosses I think, in one of the caves. Next we have is the Yeti or the snowman from your snow cave or the island map. That's about covers for the alpha features. Now we have again a very special, very special exhibit. You would like this. These are all the event creatures. Now there are a lot of event creatures in the game, some of which were removed, but I could get some of these event creatures to come in. Now event creatures are creatures that you find in events like Love Evolved, Fear Evolved and all those things. I have mostly included the Fear Evolved creatures because, well, technically they are, I could not get the Fear Evolved creatures to spawn or get their dermis because they are removed. So what I did was, I know that I have completed 100% all of those explorer nodes on all the other maps. So I have 100% in explorer nodes in all of the islands, Scorcher and everything, and hence I've gotten the skeletal skins for all of the default creatures. So what I did was, I just made a normal creature and added the skin to it, making it look like a skeletal creature. So we have the skeletal bronto, skeletal raptor, skeletal carnotaurus, skeletal rex, skeletal giga, skeletal version of the stego, skeletal triceratops, skeletal quetzal, skeletal wyvern. We have the skeletal jerboa. Now these are the different skins that you get from collecting explorer nodes on the island and reaching a certain number of explorer nodes. This is the the bunny costume, Procoptodon's bunny costume. Next one is the Styracosaurus costume for Triceratops. Yes. Next we have is the Stygimoloch costume for Pachycephalosaurus. This Stygimoloch is the Stygi that you find in the Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom movie. Next we have is the reindeer costume for the Megaloceros. Next we have is the Brachiosaurus costume for Brontosaurus. And that's about it, covers for the event creatures. Now I have colored them black with well, the colors are in a slightly different order. We have light green, or I think olive and black, then it comes to orange, then red, then black. The reason for this coloring is, I think it has something to do with the fact that skeletal creatures have a certain reddish like glow, fire like glow that you find in the Fear Evolved event, and I wanted to make sure this looks exactly like that fire. So the fire is from here and it is moving outwards like that. So hence the coloration from yellow, orange, red and black. So bright fire, then normal fire, then very deep fire, then finally smoke and dust to ashes. That is what the event creatures are. And actually, if you were to check the logo for the Fear Evolved and other Fear Evolved 2 and 3 events, you will find that the logo has this sort of coloration. Hence, I gave it this sort of color. Let's see. Humans. Yeah. Humans have every single color in the game. So this is the Vibgyor color. Before I actually show you the different humans, I'll actually show you the colors. So this is very colorful. I have made it into every single color that is possible. This is actually Vibgyor. So we have violet, we have indigo, blue, green, yellow, orange, red, brick, and again like that. Yeah, this is very colorful. Why did I choose every single color? Because human beings can wear dresses of every colors, and human beings are multi-dimensional and very intelligent. So I wanted to represent how versatile and adaptable humans are. So every single color. And also because human beings can see every color in the game, unlike most creatures which are colorblind. So we have, for human beings, I have chosen a female model. I am a male, but I wanted to choose a female model. So I had to spawn these guys in. So we have cloth armor, hide, chitin, flak, healy, fur. Now the sequence in which I have made the armors is the sequence in which I have used them in the game. So we have healy, then fur armor, then scuba gear, then desert cloth, which looks really nice by the way. It looks like a fighter pilot from World War II and 1. Next you have is the hazmat gear from Aberration, the riot gear. And finally, this should have been tech gear, but tech you cannot actually put tech gear inside it. So this is more like the default body. Lastly, we come to the Titans. Now, initially this stand was supposed to be for all the bosses, including the bosses from the other maps. But I again faced the same problem that boss dummies for other bosses, even if you try to get them onto this map, they will disappear. And if you spawn these boss dummies in and then try to put them on the stand, well, it will work. But after you restart your game or a server restart, those dummies will be invisible. So I was like, okay, to hell with them. Let's go for only the Titans. So we have all the Titans in the game, and they have been color coded to be green, blue, red. I mean, these three colors represent the three colors of the three obelisks, the green, blue, and red obelisks. And I put them green at the very outside with red at the very inside, because green represents generally the easy and for gamma, and red represents the alpha, which is the most difficult. So we generally come from outside to inside, so easy to hard. And finally you get the final boss or the tech cave or the overseer. So that one is the white part. In this case, this represents the King Titan. So we have the Desert Titan. This is the normal Gamma and Beta King Titans. The Forest Titan without its arms. Next we have is the Mecha King Titan or the Alpha King Titan. Next we have is the Ice Titan. Now all of these guys are taken from Japanese kaiju folklore, and I think, as far as I think, the King Titan is more or less like the equivalent of the Godzilla. So that's about it covers for the entirety of the Taxidermy Museum, all of it. There are many creatures that I wanted to put inside the Taxidermy Museum, but I could not, thanks to this invisible spawny, invisible taxidermy and vanishing taxidermy things. Well, that you can thank the Ark devs for it, and they will never be fixed according to what kind of things Ark devs generally do. I also had a separate video on this, guys. This is my museum for every single artifact, trophy, and flag present in this game. up to crystallize. So I had a separate video for that. You can stay tuned for that video. That video has been actually has been there from much before the taxidermy video. You can have a look, go through at that. Till then, I hope you really enjoyed my taxidermy museum video series, and stay tuned for more. Thank you.